Welcome back. Wigger Point is a familiar trail for many Arkansans, but in 2001, the trail wasn't quite as worn as it is today. And for one family, the trail became a nearly 3-day nightmare. 5 News reporter Ian Taylor joins us in studio with the story.
21 years ago, Haley Zega, then 6 years old, was found along the banks of the Buffalo River after a harrowing 52 hours, lost in the wilderness alone. Separated from her family, the search for Haley became the largest search mission in Arkansas history. On April 29, 2001, Haley's grandparents took their granddaughter on a hike in the upper Buffalo wilderness of Newton County to Hawksbill Crag. After hiking along the trail, they came to a waterfall that Haley wished to see.
Let's start at the very beginning, I guess. Very good place to start.
When you realized you were lost, what was the initial feeling? You know, as you said, you just had turned 6, you're a little kid, you hadn't been out in the woods before, yeah. It's dense, and now you're lost. I mean, I'm sure you were probably scared, a little worried, but you know, what were you feeling in that moment?
Yeah, I actually wasn't scared. Because I had never been in the woods before, because I had no experience in that situation, I didn't realize how dire the situation was.
Haley found herself lost in the woods after getting separated from her grandparents. She set off along a game trail and soon found herself unable to see or hear them. However, Haley says she wasn't alone.
From the moment I knew I was lost, I had this imaginary friend. That's what I've always called her. That's what I'm always going to call her. And she was with me the whole time. And she was a comforting, positive presence. She was just there the whole time and kept me focused on my goal, I guess.
Back in Fayetteville, Haley's mom, Kelly, was attending a film festival and unaware of her daughter's situation.
From the back of the room, the announcer got onto the microphone and asked me to please come to the back of the room. And that scared me half to death. And I was told by 2 friends who had come at the request of my parents and the folks that were with them to get me because Haley had gone missing.
Kelly stopped by their home to get clothes and Haley's pillowcase, anything that might provide a scent for search crews' canine teams to track Haley's whereabouts. But the hardest part for Kelly at this time was the 2-hour drive to where the search and rescue units had set up in Newton County.
Where I was not exactly panicky, but really, really scared, was that I knew that trail was along a bluff line that drops a couple hundred feet down to the Buffalo River. And so knowing that and the treacherousness of that area, I was just scared to death that she had fallen.
Haley had not fallen, but says with the help of her imaginary friend, she had managed to safely climb down the bluff and reach the Buffalo River.
Well, I got myself into this mess, so there's no reason why I can't get myself out of it.
The first day of searching had come to an end. Haley found herself wandering alone for the second day. At base camp, Kelly and the team had begun to work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and Colleen Nick of the Morgan Nick Foundation. But as night fell for the second time and no sign of Haley, efforts changed.
Basically thinking that she'd been abducted at this point because there was just no trace of her. And so we had sort of changed the direction of the search.
Then on May 1st, 2001, 52 hours after Haley went missing, news arrived as former Washington County Sheriff Steve Whitmill arrived.
So he gets out of the vehicle and we're just standing there, just staring. And he takes a few steps. He's got a really serious look on his face. And then he said, "I've got a little girl who wants to see her mama."
Haley had been found along the banks of the Buffalo River by 2 men, William Jeff Valines and Lytle James. The 2 men were familiar with the area and hiked down with mules, finding Haley curled up in a ball. Tired, hungry, and thirsty, the men offered Haley a Diet Coke and chocolate pudding before putting her on the mule and making their way back.
Oh, man. So it's funny. I hate Diet Coke. And I didn't like Diet Coke then. But it was like manna from heaven.
It took a few hours for the 3 to make it back out of the valley and to the ambulance where Haley and her mom were once again reunited.
You know, they opened up the doors and I basically crawled on top of the gurney and was just, hovering over her, and she was so tired and just exhausted and, didn't have a whole lot to say, but you could tell she was just so happy.
Today, Haley calls Fayetteville home, where she's an actress. She visits the trail about once a year and enjoys showing friends the waterfall, where she so desperately wanted to see, that is now named after her. In studio, covering news where you live, Ian Taylor, 5 News.